Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is Thamayim in Atlanta, and found this article on the Daily Mail a few days ago, dated January 14th, and it says, homeless man who shot dead teen cashier in cold blood at Burger King, where he used to work, had been released without bail in November for a screwdriver attack. Screamed America's gonna burn during wide-eyed perp walk. And that, which is in quotation, America's gonna burn, is what drew my attention to this, because it appears that Esau is trying to link this man to what the prophets say, because as we know, America is going to burn by ICBMs during World War III, and that's what the prophets say. But this man said it as well as he was being arrested, and he also said a couple other things in his rant. We'll read down into it, Lord willing, but I just wanted to bring this to the attention of the hopeful elect, in that Esau appears to be trying to build a case and trying to link the prophets to criminal behavior. But as we know, he can't do that because the prophets are blameless. But anyway, it says, police arrested Winston Glenn, a 30-year-old homeless man, in connection with Sunday's murder of Crystal Baron Nieves, 19. Glenn went on a foul-mouthed rant as he was being led out of the 25th Precinct station house after being booked Friday afternoon. Why am I guilty? Glenn shouted through the blue mask covering his face as officers walked him to a waiting police car. You know they charge ends every day. Detectives attempted to load the handcuffed suspect into the back of the car when he screamed, F you all, and then bellowed, America's gonna burn. Glenn had one last parting shout for those yelling at him in Spanish before cops could load him in the car. Do you want to start a war between Latinos and Ends? Do you want to start a war? And that's also, within this article, you could see that through Esau's witchcraft and propaganda, he's also trying to raise division between the northern and the southern kingdom, while on the other end, the prophets are trying to, and the Lord Yahweh, through the Lord Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, is trying to, or is bringing back the northern and southern kingdom into one nation. But Esau's trying to wedge division. Moving on, Glenn was out on the street following his arrest on November 30th for menacing a man with a screwdriver because his crime was not bail eligible. He now faces charges of murder, robbery, criminal use of a firearm, and criminal possession of a weapon. Baron Nieves was working a night shift as a cashier at a Burger King in East Harlem when an armed robber shot and killed her after she handed him $100. Glenn's past criminal record includes at least 3 other prior arrests, criminal possession of a weapon in 2020, another menacing charge from 2018, and a criminal mischief charge stemming from a 2017 incident. NYPD says detectives used surveillance video to track down the suspect, who was then identified by witnesses. And we'll just read a little bit of this because it's a long article, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But it says a 30-year-old career criminal yelled, America's going to burn after being arrested over the cold-blooded murder of a 19-year-old Burger King cashier during a robbery this week, and the homeless man was free to kill after being released without bail for menacing another man with a screwdriver little more than a month before the murder. Winston Glenn was tracked down in Brooklyn after an intense citywide manhunt following the shocking murder of Crystal Bayron Nieves at the East Harlem Burger King, where NYPD officials said Glenn previously had worked. Glenn was out on the street following his arrest on November 30th because his crime was not bail eligible. The Jamaican immigrant, and that's the tribe of Benjamin, so he's a Benjaminite, was being led out of the 25th Precinct station house after being booked Friday afternoon when he launched into his rant as an angry crowd cursed at him in English and Spanish. The victim was Puerto Rican, so she was an Ephraimite, possibly. "Why am I guilty?" Glenn shouted through the blue mask covering his face as officers walked him to a waiting police car. "You know they charge ends every day. Where's our reparations for 400 years of effing slavery?" And that could also be linked to what the prophets say, or to, in similarities, not saying that verbatim what he's saying is what the prophets say, but your average passerby or reader of this could hear this and then also hear what the prophets on the streets are saying, or within YouTube videos or wherever, and link the two within their small minds. But detectives attempted to load the handcuffed suspect into the back of the car, where he screamed, "F you all," and then bellowed, "America's gonna burn." And that was truth. America will burn with ICBMs, which is said in the Bible through biblical prophecy. That's how we know that. The cops then grabbed him by the shoulders and the top of his head as they struggled to shove him in the vehicle. But Glenn had one last parting shout for those calling him garbage, and much worse in Spanish. "Do you want to start a war between Latinos and Ns? Do you want to start a war?" he hollered. Glenn faces charges of first-degree murder, first-degree robbery, criminal use of a firearm, and criminal possession of a weapon. And you can see him there as he's going on this tirade. And not saying this crime didn't happen, but this could also be something that Esau just set up altogether to push his witchcraft, to try to incriminate the prophets, to try and build his case on coming towards the prophets. And from here, let's just take a few looks at some of the pictures that they have that kind of shows that this might not be the most real incident. But it says, or you see him right here looking like a demon, but take a look at his shirt in the bottom right corner. You see a lady as she's dumping dust, but it looks like she's pulling up a tablecloth to a brick wall, and the tablecloth is in the appearance of a pyramid, and the brick behind it kind of shows that it is a pyramid. And so you could see Esau's fingerprint right there on this man's shirt as he looks like a demon. And you see him being arraigned in court. Some more, there's the victim on the right hand, and you see the accused on the left. He has a beard, and he could, any passerby could say that he appears just like one of the Lord's men. And going down some more. That's him working at the same Burger King. That's him throwing up some hand signs. But down a little further, that's what I want to get to before we get into the scriptures. And it talks about how crime in New York City is increasing. But this says Winston Glenn is just one of many repeat offenders who conducted violent crimes in New York City after skirting imprisonment. And then the first example that they bring up is Xavier Israel. And so just peep the name there. And he was in the news just a few weeks ago. And then the second guy is Craig Tamanaha. And that's the man who burnt down the Fox News Christmas tree just a few weeks ago as well. And shows some others. Antonio Egabara, serial offender, Daryl Johnson. And then this guy, Isis Thompson. And that's almost in a way trying to link between Muslims, the prophets between the Muslims. But we'll read Tamanaha. And it says, set fire to Fox News' Christmas tree. Was arrested for setting fire to Fox News' Christmas tree on December 7th. It was not a political attack. The homeless man targeted the tree at random, climbing it as Fox News staffers watched on, then using a lighter to set it alight. Tamanaha has a lengthy criminal record spanning at least 20 years in 2 states, and he was arrested in November for exposing himself outside the Ghislaine Maxwell trial in the city. And I thought that was interesting. But altogether, it's just be aware, be vigilant, and see that Esau is trying to set up a case. But let's go ahead and move on to the scriptures, because that's what we do. 1 Thessalonians, 5th chapter, starting at verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. And you don't. You know what time it is in the season, and you see what Esau's trying to do. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. And when do thieves come? When you are least aware. For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief. You are all children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep, as do others. Because when you sleep, you're not aware. But let us watch and be sober, as in sober of mind. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet, the hope of salvation. You go to 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And his media is a device. It's something that he could use to his advantage. And he's been using it for years and years to push his propaganda and his witchcraft. And it appears that he's using it again to make a case towards the prophets. And so just be aware and know that the Edomites are trying to build a case currently against the prophets so that they can come and take them away. And with that, I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.